Hi guys, welcome back. Today we're going to do a glowing fairy. So you could pick out any fairy picture that you want, or even a butterfly, anything with wings, it works. And I'm using Color Fantasy, and it's by Scott Howden. And I'm going to be transferring the paper. And the first step for this, what I'm going to do is I happen to have a big fat marker, but you can use any Sharpie. Except for these little lines, like this lines that are already black, I'm going to blacken in with the Sharpie marker the entire picture, the background. Very simply, stay away from your white lines. Let your white lines show. If you're not comfortable with a marker going really close to lines, fill in really close to the line with your black pencil. Just like this. And then you can take your marker from there. After I get this whole background in black, I'm going to actually transfer this whole entire thing onto gray paper. And for that, I'm using Strathmore Tone Gray. I worked on this the better part of the day. So I took the original picture and I copied it over onto white cardstock. Then I started adding and subtracting using white, and I got this. Okay? I used three different, well, actually four. Four different things. I used a Sharpie. It's the oil-based Sharpie. So I used that, Posca, my pencil, and a regular Sharpie. And I just drew in where the outlines were. Now, if you see on here, I had to make sure that the white was doubled. And that's where you got this. And then I filled it all in with black. All of this that I've done up till this point is just my prep. Just so that I'm able to get the picture. I needed to change it. So now we have the black background and everything is ready to apply the white. Now, everything I've taught you up until this point was to use dark in the dark areas and light in the light areas. We're going to do the opposite. We're going to put the white in the darker areas. So we're going kind of opposite of everything I've said since the beginning of where to put your lights and where to put your darks. So like say on her bum area. If I was going to do her derriere, this area over here would be lightest. But I'm going to put my light on the outside. Now, I'm going to follow all of the lines in here, and I'm going to do the same thing to them. In addition to doing all these darker areas with the white pencil, I'm also going to do these in the white. So it's going to take me a while. I'll put you on hyperlapse, and you can watch. I'm going to put a highlight with my Posca right through the black. Now, I know this looks a little funny now, but when I add color to the white, it'll look much better. The next thing I'm going to start working on is the wing. I'm not going to make a flat line. It's sort of going to look like this. I'm using my Prismacolor. Just like that. Now I'm going to want to get it brighter towards the body. So when I take it, the next layer, as it gets towards the body, I'm going to go heavier with my hand. Now I'm going to repeat to the other side of the wing, going in towards the middle. The same thing I did over here. Each one of these steps is really very easy. And you can do this with basically any picture. It doesn't have to be a fairy. Just changing your background around. And gray paper always looks the best. You know, especially if you do anything that glows. If you use white paper, you kind of fight the paper. Now, what I had to do is sometimes I have to cut down my paper, my good paper, into my printer, which is no big deal. I have a cutting, I don't know, what do they call it, a cutting board. And I get nice straight lines, so I can make it, I mean, I can only do it to the size of, like, a coloring book. And that works out pretty good because I can get everybody always asks what type of paper do I use. Depending on what I'm doing, if you cut your paper down to fit in your printer, you can color on really good Bristol paper. For everyday coloring, this is like one of my most popular questions. I just use a 80-pound cardstock I get from Walmart. But if I'm doing something really good, I'll put good paper in there. Now, what's good about this is it's very self-fixing. Like, say I went and I put in a place, like right there, I got a little white where I want the black. Covers right up. There you go. Perfect line. So this is kind of like foolproof. And the good thing is you keep the main copy of this, and you can do this in any color. Because we're going to add a glow onto it. That's another step. It took me a long time to figure this out on how to get things to glow. I never got that. I used neon and it came out good, but I needed more time to perfect my technique. I mean, sometimes it's something that develops, and then once I develop a technique and I test it and I test it and I know it works, then I just make a video. So I thought when I did my neon pictures that was going to be it, as good as it gets. Then I did this and it gets a lot better. Once you get the picture set and printed into the black, then it's fun. I'm going to get myself some good gray paper. This is really just sketching paper. Like, it's not supposed to be good paper. But I'm overdue for a trip over to Blick's. Okay. Next step on this. We have to put some veins in there. You're going to get out a really, well, you can use if you have the China White, it's a little bit more opaque. And you're going to go in, you can do it any way you want. I tested it with knowing it looks good with this. And I'm going to just make these like roots of a tree. Or lightning going through the wing. See, art's not that hard once you get, a technique down. And then once you start doing techniques instead of just one way of coloring, there's more to life than blending. There's special effects that you can use. You can learn special effects. Things like this. This is going to be a translucent wing. Now I don't want harsh black because you're looking through it. Very, very lightly. I'm going to go and put the lightest touch. And you're going to just push those lines back into the paper. And I'm going to do another layer on the top. Pretty good, huh? Very easy. So, now let's get a glow going on her. The next step is very optional if you want to put color in this, and I do. So, I've chosen aquamarine, but you can choose like electric blue, you can use hot pink, whatever color you really want to use. It looks really good with the neon colors. I wanted to do it in aqua. Well, it's aquamarine. And you start at the top. And it's very light. I'm not going to put a heavy amount of color on it. I'm just working my way around the wing. And this just adds a little something else to the picture instead of just white, although you can keep it white. Now, I'm not going to go into the wing itself with this, but if you wanted to do it, I guess it would work out too. I want to keep the black in there. You always want to see a little bit of that undercolor so that it looks like it's translucent. You don't want to lose it, so work very light-handed. And if you're new to my channel, when you work light-handed, work further back on the pencil. If you go up here, you're going to get a heavier line than you will back here. Okay, and now I could even put a slight glow onto the top of her tush and the back of her arm. And how heavy you go is up to you. I'm not going to go very heavy. Okay, and I'd leave the bottom white just so that you know the color is bouncing just to the tops of these things. Now, where the white is, I'm going to just put in a little bit of aqua on the top. Okay, now with the fruit, I'm going to, I'm going to get this a little bit darker. Everything that faces the fairy, I'm going to have a little bit of the blue in. So it's basically the tops of the fruit. Have like your angles going in so that the glow faces, the blue glow faces it. So no matter where it is on the fruit, okay, now I'm going to put just a slight layer of white over it, just to really soften up those edges. Because a glow is light, and so the light is very soft. Now, don't worry if you get it out of the lines. Now, you could be working on any object, because you're not necessarily going to go do this specific. This is a technique, so you can do this on any picture, and it would be any object that's facing the fairy wings. And it's okay to get it out of the line a little bit, because a glow is very hazy. It doesn't just stop it there. So you might have a little bit of glow. In fact, you will. And we'll do that in another step. So getting it out of the lines is not a mistake. Okay. Next step. You're going to get out a light gray pencil. Now, you can use a cool gray, which is preferable, or even a warm gray. At this point, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to use, because it's here, 70% warm. I'm working on gray paper, and this is really a warm gray paper. So either one is good. And the gray is going to go at the bottom of the fruit, opposite the glow. Don't cover up your entire white. You just want a soft little shadow in there. And then I'm going to go over that with the white again. I just want a little different tone. So on any objects that you're doing, just remember you have to do the glow area and you do a toned area. So it could be virtually anything. I'm going to actually do the rest of this the same way. It's just that it's easier just to show you on small objects how I'm going to do it. Okay, I'm going to add a little sparkle onto her. And with my Posca, I'm going to just make some sparkle lines. Because fairies have to sparkle. And these should be random. Another thing you can do is you can put a glow on some of these things. A little haze, very light on the outside of the fruit. So you just can barely see it because glow has haze. And that's another thing you can do to the fruit. It'll make it look a little bit more hazy. And you can do the same on her. That's why I wanted you to add a darker line on the bottom so that it comes up. You can make her glow off of herself. And just a very fine white mist. Almost like you have to question if it's there. That's why I said before, if you go out of the lines, it's not a big deal. And if you add too much of this, you can go in and darken it up with the black. So here we have the original picture, and here we have my rendition. Big difference. This is what you can do to anything in a book. Take care, guys. I'll see you next time.